My name is Dr. Angela Celeste May. I am, by training, clinical, organizational, and forensic psychologist. I am the president of A.M. May and Associates Incorporated, where we do counseling, consulting, and coaching. And then the other part of what I mentioned for my own background is forensic. I'm a forensic psychologist, and that means, again, we take our understanding of behavior and how people think and their feelings and emotions, and we apply it to people in the court system or dealing with being arrested or having some kind of legal charges against them. So we work within that system also. When I was a forensic examiner, I mentioned it was at the Third Circuit Court. And for us, our job was very little of it was doing, or a small percentage of it was doing therapy, the treatment. And none of the therapy and treatment that we did was one-on-one. It was always group. So we would do, for example, anger management. For example, the court or a judge might order a person found, let's say, guilty of being assaulting someone or attacking someone or something like that. So the judge might say, you know what, part of your sentence is I'm going to give you probation, but I want you to take anger management classes to help you, so that you don't do this anymore. So those were the kinds of group therapy that we would do at the court. The major part of the work that we did as forensic examiners, and that lots of forensic examiners do, or forensic psychologists, is remember I mentioned the psychological testing. So we would do testing and assessment, what we call psychological evaluations. We would evaluate the person who was charged with a particular crime and make a recommendation. So it all depends on who's asking me to do the evaluation and why. So everyone from a probation officer, let's say a probation officer is working with someone who's on probation, and they're trying to give them more support because they're noticing they're having trouble staying out of trouble, for example. So they may say, Dr. May, would you please do a psychological evaluation on this person? In which I would talk with the person. I may give them a couple of psychological tests and assess them to find out, well, what kinds of recommendations can I make to that probation officer to help this person stay out of trouble? So it might be, I may recommend that they go and get therapy, or I may recommend that they work on their stress and their anger management, or whatever it may be. Many of you may have heard of being competent to stand trial. You might have heard that term before. Well, that comes from a psychologist who does those evaluations. So, for example, you may have a judge who says, you know what, before we move forward with this person charged with a particular crime, we're not sure if they're really understanding what's going on. They seem like they're not stable. So, Dr. May, would you evaluate this person and let us know if you feel that they are competent to stand trial? So there are lots of different types of evaluations and testing that we would do with different clients within the court system. Sometimes a defense attorney might make the recommendation, prosecuting attorney. It just can come from different places within the judicial system to try and get some answers for a particular person. And there are different types of evaluations. A person would be brought to my office and I would assess them. I would sit with them, talk with them, etc., do the testing and all that. And then after they would leave my office, I would make my recommendations in writing. Usually that would be enough. That constitutes your voice in the courtroom. That's like your written testimony, so to speak. But occasionally, yes, the judge would request that you physically come into the actual courtroom. So part of the job being a forensic examiner, what kind of comes with the job is understanding that sometimes you will be an expert witness in which you will physically be in the courtroom. So I've done that a few times as well, where you're answering questions, giving more detail about why you made the recommendation that you did, and you also can be cross-examined as well by the other attorney. So that's a part of that work.